What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Seth, and we are back again for some more Trove. Now, after my recent video talking about this dragon itself, I noticed that a few of you in the comments were just interested in finding out more specifically where you end up getting the scales of this dragon. You didn't care what it looked like, you didn't care about any of that stuff, so this is just going to be a definitive quick tutorial letting you know that you craft this dragon in the Forbidden Spires crafting table, not in the Dragon Crucible. This dragon does not cost dragon coins, and as a quick little update, the devs have actually confirmed that in one of the October updates, this dragon not only is going to end up actually showing the stats that it gives in its description, but it's also going to end up giving us 250 mastery. So get out there and get farming, everybody. If you haven't already completed the event that gives you 25 of the Sagely Blue Dragon Scales, that event is for a limited time only. However, the Sagely Dragon Scales will stick around forever. So where do you actually end up getting the Sagely Dragon Scales, you ask? Well, let me show you. You're going to want to head to a U6 portal because it's going to spawn the Forbidden Spires. Forbidden Spires is a biome that can generate in every type of difficulty, but it is going to end up spawning the biggest in U6, and you are also going to end up having your spawn point right in the Forbidden Spires biome. Now, it's as simple as every single enemy within this biome has a chance of actually dropping not only Fiery Feather, but also a Sagely Blue Dragon Scale. Now, the thing is that originally we thought it was just a 50-50 chance of whether it was going to end up dropping one or the other if the enemy decides to actually drop its rare drop in the first place. But it turns out that I and many others ended up making comments on my last video saying that you've actually had both a Fiery Feather and a Sagely Scale drop at the same time. So it seems to just be random chance of whether or not these enemies drop anything in general. And it doesn't seem to matter which enemies it is. It's all random chance. So it doesn't, you know, how long it takes you to actually get this dragon is completely up to your amount of dedication and time. And also just RNG, whether it's going to end up blessing you with some drops or not. There's a couple tips that I would use. Neon Ninja can technically be faster at farming this if you have a Neon Ninja Rage speed build. Otherwise, I would recommend that you use Shadow Hunter for the longevity of the grind, because using a ranged character is just going to end up making things a little bit easier for you, because like this enemy right here, you just kill him and then you just move on, instead of a melee character where you'd have to walk up to him and then move on. Now, I like using Shadow Hunter not only just because with you know, lag going on, the fact that we're shooting so many shots means that we have more chance of our shot actually being registered in the game's code. But on top of that, did you know that the Shadow Hunter is actually the longest ranged attack character in the entire game? Now, there's a couple different generations of this biome that you can get, and it doesn't really matter. It's all up to your own personal preference and what you feel like grinding and stuff like that. But when you get to this higher hill area, I would actually recommend this if you can. Because what you can actually do in this biome when it generates like this is you can kind of just look around and see, like, there's an enemy right here, there's one that generated with the dungeon, there's one. Generally, these enemies seem to spawn in a checker pattern. That's just in Trove in general, right? And the cool thing is that when you're in this upper plateau version of the biome, there just seems to be a lot more enemies. So you can get through this and just kind of zigzag your way across, and if you get a big enough generation of this version of the biome, the enemies in the game do actually end up respawning after a while. Now, that said, you know, again, that's just personal preference. I personally think that it's a lot faster farming up there, just because that's how I ended up getting my Fiery Feathers, and seemed to be a much easier way of me getting the Sagely Blue Dragon Scales. But you can just farm anywhere else. You're going to want to kind of try to avoid other players, just because of the fact that they're going to end up lagging you out and stuff like that. And it's usually an easier task to do this alone rather than with a group. Maybe if you're playing it with a friend or something like that. And then finally, last but not least, you can actually grind out this dragon in about 5 to 8 hours, maybe. Depends on your class, depends on how efficient you are. That's the biggest thing, is it depends how much you grind it. I was able to get this dragon in 5 hours and 30 minutes, and that was also with the fact that the event gives you 25 to the dragon scale. So once the event is gone, this dragon is going to end up taking maybe like 7 hours plus or something like that. Maybe some people will be able to get that a little bit quicker. Again, it's completely random, so for all we know, it could end up taking you 10 hours. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Sign over and stay epic.